Well, it was a curious busyness. I mean, obviously the live stuff kind of evaporated, uh, and presented a kind of a landscape of rather desert-like opportunities. But then, of course, being technologically, um, given the opportunity to look at the way technology is being um, putting putting opportunities to performing artists who need to keep working, need to keep on their game, and need to look at their assessment. I mean, it provided me with really, I was so I was fortunate in many different ways. Um, I was lucky that the season that I had planned. I mean, after the first 6 months, obviously that was pretty tough. But from then on, the I was UK based. I live in the UK, obviously, and I had the UK based opportunities, which was Wigmore Hall and London Symphony and London Philharmonic, and the Royal Opera House as well. And uh, they all became streaming events, and I got into the groove of really understanding what was possible. Um, I put together some videos. Myself, I got, into the video editing thing, um, which was fun, hard work. Anyway, it was great to do. My son was auditioning online for various drama courses and things, so he helped me with some of the kind of setups of things. Lots of interviews, and then more importantly, I was able to have lessons with my teacher, and that really was how I spent the 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 bulk of the non-stage performing things was getting back to basics, was retraining, was really getting to the back to the thing which, not that we'd lose this on the road necessarily, but it was just great to to start to think again about those little things that creep into what we do, and enjoy kind of, yeah, it felt like a sabbatical in a way. I was very fortunate to have those few performing opportunities that sort of ticked me over, from an economic point of view. But I also made contact with a lot of students and worked with a number of conservatoires, the Juilliard, the National Opera Studio, Royal College, University of Southern California. I mean, places all over the world where it was great to kind of just keep in touch with the young ones and really keep them inspired and say, keep at it. It's tough, but keep at it. I'm working on myself just like you guys. Let's share this opportunity to kind of concentrate on our own stuff.
Mm.
So yeah, um, but I've been aware too that for a lot of people it's been a hugely difficult time. And the part of connecting with people as well over technology has been to say, just how are you? Um, Conversations with whole casts actually of things like Die Meistersinger from Glyndebourne in 2011, uh, talking to the whole cast again, saying, "What are you doing?" And that's a big cast, and two of the people were working, so we were anxious to hear what they were doing.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I mean, there's so many things that I can talk about from there. It's so interesting to hear that someone of your caliber, you're still taking lessons and you're still learning. Do you feel that it's still important for you to have lessons? And how frequently do you have them?
Yes, well, I was having two a week,
Mm.
because, well, for the main part, I mean, shall we say I'm in the early stages of the middle part of the second half of a very long career.
Yes.
So, and the challenges are not necessarily about, um, understanding musical things necessarily, or deciding who one is as an artist or what you like to do. It's really about, okay, what physically, am literally what's my physical state? What are the changes that have happened over a few years? And my voice is changing. Every voice changes along the way. What are my new challenges? What am I not paying attention to? Is there repertoire that I should be looking at which will be helpful? Is there repertoire that I should leave behind? Just say that's enough of that. Um, should I be working so hard? Should I take longer? Things. This is really an interesting thing, particularly for a singer, where our body and our you know our well-being is based pretty much on how healthy we're feeling. And so yeah, it's so important for me anyway to have re-engaged with that absolutely concentrated focus. Someone else's ears. Um, no matter how much one thinks one can hear one's own situation, it's been so important to have those outside ears. I mean, I've had lessons mostly throughout my career, but in this last 18 months, it's been hugely helpful to have someone else go, okay, there are these things which we can work on. And when you have it so regularly as lessons, then I mean, it's a bit like having piano lessons as a child, really, that incrementally those things which you think are very, very difficult to approach, just by doing them little by little, a little at a time, wow, the results are fantastic. So, I mean, I've just come off some performing where I have felt absolutely, yeah, kind of on my A game. Not that I didn't before, but I feel, oh, I'm a step further on from where I was, and that's a very helpful uh, position to be in. I feel I can start building again on some of the things that I've relearned.
Hmm. Do you think that there is perhaps this pressure, I think, on young singers maybe to have it, if you have, an amazing college career, then you're going to have an amazing success? Or do you think that, particularly with the voice, because it is one of those instruments, isn't it? That's a bit like a wine, isn't it? It develops, with age. So, I mean, what's your take on that?
Oh, do I think with the best will in the world, and I'm associated with some really fine organizations and everything, but the difficulty about a student is that they're being required to learn so much all at once.
Yeah.
And everybody's situation is different, of course. I mean, emotionally, financially, uh, uh, you know, um, even in terms of immigration possibilities. You can
Yeah.
be in a college in a country and then not be able to work there, and that's
Mhm.
hard. Um, and also, if for whatever reason, because the pace of learning in conservatories and everything is very intense. They're being asked to learn languages and learn lots of repertoire and perform, to showcase, if you like, the things that they're learning. But and I admire the pace at which they go, but they do get tired. And if they
Yeah.
get tired, they can start to sing, in a way which is not uh, they're trying to get through the course rather than what is the course offering me to be the best that I can be. And my advice always is to them is to say, please rest. Please find time where you're not singing. Please find time where, let all that intellectual stuff percolate. Great. Um, but find those really strong habits of discipline where you're not singing all the time. Because actually not singing is sometimes more important than flogging away at it. It's also
Yeah.
because you find emergency ways to cope. And unfortunately, those can become the way you cope. So you never present yourself well in an audition, or you're always singing, at 65% in your final opera presentation, and then you're out in the world, and then it's like, well, why didn't I get an agent, or why didn't I get an audition, or why didn't I win the prize, or and these doubts and everything creep in. But I'm saying to everybody, look, you're all there because you're great. And just rely on the fact that you've got a career which is at the very beginning, and you're going to develop. You all have great things. The prize winners, great. This is the challenge, because the prize winners are encouraged to suddenly launch into the whole thing. And
Exactly. It's like instant fame, isn't it?
yeah, and the pressures are on. The agents and promoters are always looking for that great new thing, and it may be perfect in a particular situation, but it's a long haul, and it's hard to. And of course, youthful enthusiasm and success, of course, are great, but I'm always saying, yeah, this is great, but we don't have to do everything in 2 years. Once you're out of the protective environment, there are going to be people that want you to do a lot of stuff. I sympathize very much with the people that are, well, both those that feel unsuccessful in their conservatory or college careers, but also I'm very anxious for those apparent winners as well, because comes a time when it just doesn't feel like winning anymore, and they're trying to fulfill nobly the wishes of their their agents, or whatever other people they feel they've got to live up to. There can be all sorts of pressures on successful students.